Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Yeah.
You gotta believe and invest with your heart. Orange and blue till Mets do us part. Spring training, oh yes, it's the start. City Field gritty till Mets do us part. Hit home runs and knock it out the park. Big Apple till Mets do us part. You gotta believe and invest with your heart. Listen to the show till Mets do us part. John from Brooklyn, Ibby reps NJ. With the other team, I don't care what your friends say. Mets fans, we focus like a sensei. Listen to the podcast Monday, Wednesday. Made a couple bad plays, but we still won. Character, yup, we're gonna build some. Are you gonna check the pod? Is real fun. Just like Mookie, I will, son. So invest with your heart. Orange and blue till Mets do us part. Spring training, oh yes, it's the start. City Field gritty till Mets do us part. Hit home runs and knock it out the park. Big Apple till Mets do us part. You gotta believe and invest with your heart. Listen to the show.
Available now on all streaming platforms. If you love the New York Mets, check out Till Mets Do Us Part. Enough rapping. Let's get together.
What is up, everyone? Good to see everyone, as always, on a Wednesday. Matt Ibanez here, a.k.a. Ibby. Till Mets Do Us Part, checking in on a Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you can see, a little bit different this week because I'm the one actually doing the intro, and my partner, John Saponaro, is not here with us this week because he's dealing with a couple of issues. I know we posted about it on Twitter before, so I'm allowed to say it. He's dealing with a little bit of a sinus infection. And if he is watching, I hope you're feeling better. My friend, my partner, I hope you're feeling good. He's also dealing with a mild concussion. And to answer the one question that he did get on Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it, no, he did not sneeze so hard that he got a concussion. Something else had happened. But he's doing well. He's in good spirits, and hopefully we can have him back ready and raring to go next week for episode what will be 133 as the episodes continue to fly by here for Till Mets Do Us Part. Obviously, big time shout out to Brella Sports, providing us with the platform as always. And of course, you can see next to me, right over here, we're shouting out MANSCAPED like we always love to do. I know Patty's in the chat. It's good to see you, Patty. And I know you love when I get to do my MANSCAPED reads. So, promo code TMDUP at checkout over at MANSCAPED will get you 20% off, as well as free shipping on anything you want site-wide. 20% off plus free shipping. Tell them Till Mets Do Us Part sent you. Once again, promo code TMDUP. And I got a very funny read that I'll be doing at the halfway point of the show that I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy. And the fact that we already got 45 people here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. This many filling up the chat that quickly. Clearly, we are thirsty for some Mets content. But if it is your first time here, I appreciate you. Welcome. Okay, welcome the entire crew that we bring here every single Wednesday. But if it is your first time, do me a favor. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. We just broke 700 subscribers. We're at 703 right now. So the march for obviously 800, 900, and ultimately 1,000 is well on its way. But over 700 people have subscribed to this channel. So thankful. So if it is your first time here, do me a favor. Hit the sub. Join us for the season. Finish the off season with us. Finish spring training with us. Join us for some fun during the season. We're going to have a lot going on. So I'm very pumped up about all the things on the horizon. But before we get going, we got to get through the chat, see who's here, say my hellos. Because again, I apologize in advance. I want you to keep sending in all the comments. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. But when doing the show solo, it is a little bit more harder to keep up with the chat because you guys have a lot of conversations going on. But I'm going to do my best and shout out as many people as I possibly can. Obviously, good to see Jeff Cohen in the chat as always. Jeff, good to see you, my friend. Hello, all. We got Anthony Blue Shirts, or Aaron Blue Shirts Banter saying LFGM. Still sad the tribal chief cut his hair. Yeah, Shawmaniah finally did cut his hair, but he is looking like Jey Uso a little bit more so now. So if you are a fan of wrestling, you'll get the reference. But our tribal chief did, in fact, cut that gorgeous mane that he did have. Yes, Carlos, as I just explained before, I am going solo today. Hopefully to your liking. I'll do my best to make John and the fans of the show proud. We'd like to have some good fun with us. Junior Swingman, letting John know. Hope you get better. Good stuff. Okay. Carlos Ramos checking in. It's Twitter no matter what Space Nerds says. Okay. Yeah, again, whatever whatever we want to call it, I really don't care. I know some people call it one thing and some call it the other. I tag it as X on here, but whatever it may be, we're a majority of us, conjure and have our conversations. We'll just put it at that. Let's see who else. Charlie's in the building. Carlos said I need to chat. You know what, Carlos, having a moderator like that, it's not a bad idea. Okay. 60 people in here so far. Thank you so much, guys. Looking at the chat some more before we get started. Armand saying, did I enjoy AEW Revolution? I know Carlos Ramos in here is a big AEW hater. But me, Armand, I absolutely adored Revolution. I thought it was a fantastic show. Had a blast watching it. The Sting send-off, I'm a huge Sting fan. So I know Ant Rivera, somebody Shea is a huge Sting fan as well. We were talking about it all night. Loved every minute of it. Will Ospreay is a freak of a human being. He's incredible. But overall, yes, I did love the show. It was a lot of fun. Having said all that, catching up with all of you, and we'll continue the conversation with everyone. Stevie Mack letting everybody know that it's Sting. Yes, that was my best Tony Schiavone impression. But yes, it was a fantastic show. Loved every minute of it. But for today's show, for Till Mets Do Us Part, what are we talking about? There's a lot of things that need to be said. Okay, we see a lot of things on Twitter. We see a lot of things being said about our Mets. But there are a couple of things I want to get out of the way first. Okay, that being some things around baseball, but are also baseball, I should say, some things around baseball that are also still Mets-centric that I have to get off my chest. Okay, obviously, Justin Verlander starting the season off on the IL. I know he's not here anymore, but, the Mets are still on the hook for that $17.5 million if he does amass 140 innings pitched this year. Let's not forget, last year he started the season on the IL as well. Still able to get 160 innings pitched out of him last year. He's the last of a dying breed. He's going to push himself as much as he can to get as much done for his team that he can. Guy's a warrior. Like I said, last of a dying breed. How much the Astros push him, we'll find out. If he's able to not have another hiccup, he didn't have a hiccup when he came back, so he was able to get to 160. Is that going to happen again? He's a year older. We'll find out. Okay. So we can't really count anything just yet in terms of, that potential $17.5 million being off the hook because he's starting the season on the IL, because the same thing happened last year and he was able to clear 140 innings. But we'll just say this time around, it's probably going to be, he's probably going to have to be just as perfect in order to hit that number. Lucas Giolito, Met target this offseason. A lot of people wanted him at one point. Got 2 years, almost $40 million from the Red Sox. Starting the season off on the IL as well. Might not even pitch the 2024 season because he has a partially torn UCL. Nobody likes seeing injuries. It sucks. These players work so hard to get the money that they get and to compete at the highest of levels. Sucks to see it happen to a good person. And I'm sure Giolito is that from the things that I've read about him. And it's unfortunate. But, if I could just peel it back real quick and just say, could you imagine if this team signed Lucas Giolito, Senga gets hurt, Giolito has a torn UCL? If they would have went after Giolito, they probably wouldn't have signed Severino first. Maybe because of the money you would have spent on a Giolito, you don't get a Manaea. Like, it's wild to think about. We don't have to worry about it, but it's just crazy to think about that if that did happen. People are complaining about the pitching as it is. If that would have happened, the place that we would have been in as fans, I honestly, I don't even want to think about it. But thankfully, we're not in that space. And, hopefully for the Red Sox Nation, all their fans, and Lucas Giolito himself, hopefully he can provide something during the lifespan of that 2-year contract, and it's not all lost. The last one that must be said. Zach Wheeler. Anyone who thinks Zach Wheeler got overpaid is incorrect. Okay. Zach Wheeler, I love Zach Wheeler. Okay. It kills me that he's pitching for the Phils. It kills me that he's not a Met. You can check my Twitter. You can type in Wheeler into my search history on my Twitter, and you can find plenty of tweets from way back when, how much I love Zach Wheeler. He's a fantastic pitcher. Didn't want to lose him. Wanted to re-sign him. Did not want Marcus Stroman. Really wanted to keep Zach Wheeler. Thought the talent was there. The fact that this guy gets a 3-year deal for what was it, $127 million. Worth every penny. Guy is the best fastball in baseball, according to stats, swing and miss rate based off of that. Special talent. And now he's going to shove it down the throat of Jeff Wilpon and Brodie Van Wagenen forever for their moronic comments that they made when they said he parlayed 2 half seasons into $125 million. Well, guess what? He got 125, and now he's getting another 127. Okay, over 8 years total between the 2 contracts. Guy deserves every penny. One of the best pitchers in baseball, and a fantastic stat that I have for you right here. I didn't make a graphic for this one, but a fantastic stat in terms of WAR among pitchers since 2018. Garrett Cole tops the list at 28.5. Garrett Cole's been fantastic. Was fantastic in Houston, fantastic for the Yanks. Number 2 on that list, Zach Wheeler, 28.1. Just as good, nearly just as good as Garrett Cole over that lifetime. Garrett Cole got $325 million, $324 million, actually. So, again, worth every single penny. Scherzer was next on that list at 27.8, and Jacob deGrom was 27.2, which is wild in itself. You know, that 3 of those guys were Mets at one point. But besides that, that Jacob deGrom is that high on the list, considering the injury time that he had as well. Goes to show you on the special run that Jake was on. But a lot has gone on with our Mets, and I'm going to get into it. I want to check over into the chat real quick because I was ignoring it for a little bit, seeing who's here, anything new coming on. Should have been a lifelong Met. I agree, Carlos. Should have been. Wilpons would have never resigned Wheeler. It's true. They never would have. Okay, that's the upsetting part because they thought signing Stroman was a Band-Aid to make up for it, even though Wheeler was 10 times the pitcher that Stroman was or is. Never should have let Wheeler go. If you're a new M. Stodard, LGM. If you are new here, welcome. No, I don't think I've ever seen your name before. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat. And Junior Swingman, of course, Wheeler is a workhorse. He is. He's 34, 35 years old. Don't care about the age. I know he's making $40+ million now in a given year. But let's remember, when the likes of Scherzer and Verlander got those deals as well, they were well into their high 30s, 40s. Little bit of a different story here. Zach Wheeler has been a workhorse for the last handful of years, and hopefully that can continue for him to make the most of this contract for Philly. One more thing before we dive a little bit deeper. One more thing. The dance crew. I know this triggered a lot of people on Twitter. The dance crew, a lot of Mets fans have their feelings or really got up in their feelings over this dance crew that was announced for our New York Metropolitans. Guys, I put out a tweet on this. There is absolutely no reason to care about this. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I'm not putting down the crew itself. I'm saying there's no reason to care about this because it does not affect you as a fan whatsoever. It doesn't. There is absolutely zero reason to care about something so much that we have to go online to bitch and moan about it, just to bitch and moan. This is not taking away from the product on the field. This is not spending money on something that is entertainment-wise. It's taking away from the product that's being put on the field. Comments like that are nonsense. You want to go to the game and watch baseball? No one's taking that away from you. Okay, just like the other things that happen during a game. If you've been to City before, you want to watch the kid hit the wiffle balls on the backfield on the big screen. You want to watch the kid run the bases or try to run to a base in a certain amount of time in order to win a prize, or the t-shirt cannons. Like, this is all part of the show. It's still entertainment. We go to the game to be entertained. Yes, we want to watch our team. Yes, we want our team to do well. But I don't understand why people got so up in arms over this like it was a big deal. It's really not. Like, odds are, am I going to sit there and watch the dance crew? Probably not, because then, times like that, or, if I'm going to the bathroom, getting another drink, getting some food, and these things are going on, whatever, I am there to watch baseball, but I don't care that this is happening. And I definitely don't care enough to complain about it. So I was very perplexed and very lost. I signed in. Twitter is a minefield. We know that. So when you sign in on a given day, anything could be going on. But the fact that people were complaining and screaming and whining about this, I don't I don't understand and I don't get it. But yeah, like shout out to those guys that are going to be a part of the crew. It's a job, it's something to do, it's entertainment. I understand why Steve Cohen and the Mets are trying to add some more aspects to the ballpark. So I have no issue with it. So I really don't know why people got so upset about it. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. This is incredible right now, guys. I got 86 people in here right now. That's the highest mark we've had in a while. I really appreciate everyone here so far. If this is your first time here, please, once again, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We do this every single Wednesday, 5:30 Eastern Standard. If anything changes, we'll let you know. Plenty of guests on the horizon. If you've never been here before, we've had Terry Collins on, Todd Frazier, Glendon Rush, Turk Wendell, plenty of people. If this is your first time here, you can go back and watch some other things if that interests you. And we have plenty of guests on the docket coming up as well that hopefully we'll be able to announce in the coming weeks. But thank you so much for the 88 of you that are here. So let's make sure that we are subbing to the channel. Couple of things. Our prospects. Spring training's going on. Some of us watch it in depth. Some of us don't. Obviously, I think that there's a lot of important things that are going on in the second half of the show. I'm really going to dedicate that towards our cover boy this week, which I know Carlos Ramos is going to have his things to say about our cover boy this week for our thumbnail. But I think it's going to lead to a very good discussion when we start talking about Tylor Megill and what's going on in the spring. But let me know in the chat, guys. Are you upset that we've already had our prospects sent down an option, so we're not going to be seeing them as much as we were? So seeing the likes of Jet Williams, and Drew Gilbert, and Luis Angel Acuna, and Christian Scott, Dominic Hamill, all players of that ilk are kind of being, sent off towards the minors camp, and not going to be seeing them as much as we want to. We got a small taste. We figured it was going to happen, but it is still a little upsetting because, for me at least, when it comes to watching spring training games, I love watching the prospects play, getting a better idea of them, getting a better understanding of them, what they bring to the table, how they react to certain pitching. It sucks to see it end so quickly. I understand why it did, but it still sucks because those are the things that I enjoy watching. Because when I see the likes of Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso and even Edwin Diaz, it's like I want these guys to just go out there and get their work in. Like, yeah, I want to see them, but I'm more interested in watching the other guys going all out to try and make a club, trying to make a team, trying to make the most of an opportunity. And, we're still going to have that with some of the guys on the back end trying to make the 26-man, which is cool and all. But, I'm more focused on, when it comes to our higher end players, making sure that they get out of things healthy, proper, working on things that they're trying to tweak here and there, obviously coming out of the spring unscathed and ready for opening day. That's more the focus, in my opinion, when it comes to the bigger end players. But I do enjoy watching the spring games when the young kids are playing, because that there's a lot of attention to detail, really pushing forward with things. And you're going to see that with the guys that are trying to make the bullpen. There's still a lot of competition going on there, as well as the starting pitching, which is going to be a big part of the conversation in the second half when it comes to the likes of one Tylor Megill and what he's done to this point. And even Luis Severino coming back from injury and had a pretty solid showing his first time out for our New York Mets. But let's go over to the chat. Let's take a look, see what's going on. Again, it's tough to navigate. Yes, no John rants today. I'll try my best to follow in terms of ranting, but I don't think anything's really got me that upset. I mean, the dance crew stuff was one thing, but yeah, let's see. Patty coming in saying watching the prospects was so fun. We have depth. We do have depth, which is a good thing, and something that we've been lacking for so many years. I know Terry Collins. Terry Collins is obviously having his own show now, his own podcast. Was talking about that about the depth of our New York Mets and how things can, even if things tend to go a little bit south this year, you have some depth that can help stop the bleeding, as opposed to years prior where you were calling up guys and playing guys that really had no business playing for this team, whether we're talking about the Rafael Ortegas of the world or I can't remember the other name. That Jonathan Arauz. That was it. Jonathan Arauz and Rafael Ortega last year. We have some more fun names that could be playing for our Mets this season. Let's see. Carlos coming in saying, please don't start Ibby. I had a convo with John about it, and he was cool. The point is, let him prove. Okay, we're talking about Megill. Today I replied to a friend the same thing, and all trolls come out. I give up. No, we'll talk about it. I'll save it for the second half when we're talking about Megill. I think it's going to be a fun conversation, a good one, just like last week's was. Shout out to everyone that was here last week when we had a fantastic conversation, one of our best, I think, in terms of myself and John, as well as the chat integrating themselves in when we were talking about third base, talking about Beatty, Vientos, expectations, what we've seen so far. It's early, but are we right in thinking the way that we think at the moment? Very good conversation. And we'll continue our points with that as well, because I still think third base is wide open. I'm happy that Brett Beatty has hit the ball hard so far, pulling the ball, hit a home run the other day, had a nice RBI. His last handful of swings have been solid. Shout out to Carson, who's been actually giving him credit in our Mets content creator chat. But again, few and far, can't go too far with that. But it's going to be interesting to watch that third base battle for sure. But I can't wait to get into the Tylor Megill stuff more so in the second half of the show, which should be a good one. Let's see who else is here with some good comments. Jeff Cohen coming in as an ode to Abbott and Costello. My wife loves that show, by the way. Watched it all the time with her grandfather. As an ode to Abbott and Costello. Who's on first? Alonso. What's on second? McNeil. And I don't know who's on third. You know what? Who is on third? It's a great question. Is Vientos going to prove to show that he can lift the ball on a consistent basis, hit home runs? Can Brett Beatty pull the ball? Is he going to have that confidence that he severely lacked last season? Yeah, nothing has really stood out so far in the spring. I know, shout out to the guys over on the spaces on Twitter, Rube, Keefe from Shea and Sons, Baseball Tone, Mets Trucker Pod, who frequents the chat as well. They're doing a great job in terms of talking about these things. I know Keefe is buying a lot of stock in Zach Short right now. I might short that stock, no pun. But yeah, it's wide open. It's wide open, and I still think in the end it's going to be Beatty. That's where my thought process is. But there's still a lot of time left, so we'll see what happens over these next 2-3 weeks time in terms of how things play out. But I still think Beatty has the inside track. Hey, look who's in the chat. My partner John Sapernauer checking in with us. Megill could have found something. He was a different kind of pitcher his rookie year. He was more successful. Maybe he's returned to some sort of that, or maybe he's returned to some of that. Some signs point to that. That's all. And I think it was James Shiano from Mets Up who brought it up. I think it was today. Brought it up today on Twitter, mentioning how, look, some of us are afraid. That's why I put the question in the chat, trust or bust. And if you haven't already, make sure you vote on the poll, trust or bust, when it comes to Tylor Megill. Right now, we have 25 votes. 76% say trust, while 24% say bust in terms of their thoughts on Tylor Megill being an every fifth day starter that you can put out there with confidence. James Shiano did put out a tweet asking or saying, he's like, I've been down this road before. And he said, I've seen this. I want to get excited, but I don't want to get excited because I've seen what Tylor Megill can do. But he also said, you know what? The shoulder, a little banged up. Maybe that's why his velo was a little bit down last year. Maybe that's why the shape of his fastball was off. Maybe with a little bit more rest, things have corrected themselves and he can revert back to what we saw in the beginning. So something like that is something to take stock in. And I want to keep going on it. But like I said, I want to save it for the second half of the show, which we'll get into momentarily, because there is an aspect of this team that needs to be said. Aaron coming in also saying Jose Iglesias is on third. Look, I know some people are a fan of Iglesias. Solid glove for sure. Absolute vet of the game. I know he had some good years when he was in Detroit when he first came up. I think he had some time in Boston too, if I remember correctly. But I remember mostly from Detroit. Solid glove. Can work out there as a fielder. Bat, not so much to be desired. But at the same time, At the same time, many people can say the same thing about, the bat being less than desirable in terms of Vientos and Beatty as well. So picking and choose, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out over these next handful of weeks in terms of what happens with third base. Again, the chat just continuing conversation. Yamid coming back, saying that Vientos is a DH when Beatty plays, not the other way around. So it looks like to me the Mets want Beatty to take third. I agree with that. I think that they do want to take third, which brings me to Will Salmon and The Athletic. If you're not a subscriber and you're ever curious on certain articles, I am a subscriber, so if you're curious, just DM me and I'll give you some love in terms of the info that gets put out by them, because they are fantastic. I love the way Will writes. He's been on here twice. Would love to get him on again. I know me and John are thinking about trying to get him on here again for a conversation before the season even starts. But fantastic article he put out about Carlos Mendoza. And I want to segue this, and then we'll get into the halfway point of the show, and then we'll kickstart our Tylor Megill chat. But talking about Beatty and wanting him to get the third base job and things like that. But I think about the article I read today, like I said, by Will Salmon, talking about Mendoza in terms of chemistry and the things that he's trying to establish with this team. And I know the big joke for Mets fans and for many over the last handful of years where, we're leading the league in friendship and we're focused on chemistry instead of getting good players. That's why we failed at the deadline. That's why Epler was inept and all those different things. I remember those conversations. I remember having them on here as well with a lot of you and sharing some feelings as well. But the fact that Carlos Mendoza is a first-year manager doing everything that he can based off of this article that was written in terms of creating a place where everyone picks each other up. Because, guys, I think we get so lost in the winning and losing aspect and pushing for something as opposed to understanding that these are people. And when people work together, the better the environment that you work in, the more you work harder for each other, the more you push each other. And motivating, I think, is very difficult at this level for some, because you're talking with guys that are making millions of dollars, like grown-ass men making millions of dollars that you need to find a connection with to build and grow with them, not only on an individual level, but amongst that entire community that you're building for that team. So when I see things and I hear players like Brendan Nimmo talk about the genuine nature, talking about the genuine nature of Carlos Mendoza, Pete Alonso talking about the great conversations that he's had with him, the fact that he drove out to Brett Beatty while he was working out with Francisco Lindor to get an idea of what they were doing, to create communication, to leave, to then come back the next day and say, let's do it again. Let's get to know each other. Let's work on some things. See, I think that goes a long way. And I think that's why there is a different vibe to this Mets team this year, like I spoke on last week when talking about, it's a younger team, it's hungry, it's operating on a different level. And because it's not as vet heavy and you have some more youth now, I think that's really bleeding through, and that bleeds through because when you have a coach, when you have a manager that's younger, it's their first time, they're full of piss and vinegar, all this stuff, like they're excited, like they're pumped up, they're anxious, all these things. Seeing that play out and hearing that in the words that were said by all the players that the Athletic was able to speak with about this topic when it comes to Carlos Mendoza. Like, I know that they're not going to throw their manager under the bus before a game was even played. I get that. And I get that people in the comments, not here, the comments on the Athletic, were saying, well, isn't this what a manager's supposed to do? Yes, it is. But I love the fact that things are being established, because when these things were written, when this information was found out, it was well before spring started. These were phone calls. These were trips that were made before anyone was even in camp. So you're establishing something before you get to camp. You're establishing something with your veteran players that you're trying to get the respect of, because they're the true leaders of the room because they've been there. You are integrating yourself into that so that you can become that overall leader, but you got to get that respect first. And the fact that he has that, and he's gaining that from the likes of Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso, that goes a long way. So I just think that, people that were upset or worried about Carlos Mendoza, I think we're in good hands. I think he's going to handle himself well. Every time I've heard him speak so far, outside of that one press conference that was not his fault at all, that was just terrible questions that were being asked, I think he's spoken the way he's supposed to speak. I think he understands the climate of New York. And, I think he had a conversation with, I think it was Diekman in the article. And no, I'm sorry, it was Diekman. It was Tyrone Taylor. That's who it was. And he was saying, I spent so many years in Milwaukee, I don't know what to expect of New York. And he said, obviously, when it comes to the media, it's a little bit different. There's a lot more names, a lot more going on. But he said, embrace it. Be yourself, embrace it, and roll with the punches. So, he knows what this media is like. It's crazy. It's not just, two papers coming at you. It's multiple papers. It's multiple blogs. It's multiple websites. It's everything. And everything is posted out as quickly as it does, more so for a New York-based team on socials as opposed to Milwaukee. But he understands where he is. He understands the climate. And I think the fact that this team is working under the radar is going to go a long way in terms of this team playing above their expectations, at least in my opinion, to an extent, health pending. But I think that's why that this team will be able to thrive as opposed to falter the way that they did last season. 106 people in here right now. God damn. I am so thankful. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel and you're listening to me ramble on right now, I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the sub button. We're at 703 last time I checked. Like the video. It goes a long way in helping with the algorithm and getting us out to more and more people so these numbers can continue to climb as we as a show continue to grow. Okay, so no one has subbed. Yeah, I'm a little let down, guys. No new subs, but 105 of you, if all 105 of you are subbed to the channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But if you're not, hit that subscribe and let's have some fun like always. I'm going to go to the chat and find some things to go over before we head into the break. Patty saying I would still like JD Martinez as the DH instead of a platoon. JD Martinez is back in the news as Sanders cancel, brother or cousin of Robinson. Well, we will never know. Read John Heyman's tweet. I read it too. And then I proceeded to post my clown picture of John Heyman like I always do whenever I see a tweet from him, because now I can't see any of his tweets because he blocked me because of said clown tweets. But either way, worth it in my opinion. John coming in from our third base conversation. Got to go upside at third base. They lost the opportunity to bring in somebody notably better than Beatty or Vientos, Wendell, Iglesias, etc. Ain't it. Got to agree with my partner on that one. I don't think Wendell and Iglesias are the answer. I don't think Zach Short is either. Sorry, Keith. I know you're buying those stocks on Short. I'm not there yet. I still think it's the Beatty or Vientos show in the end. Mets vent coming in. Just got here, but give me Rylan Bannon or give me death. I can respect that. I can respect the man sticking to his guy. Let us know. Let's see what else we got here. Never met a bad Carlos yet. Ortiz, Ramos, Mendoza, Beltran. Yes, Shea, my Carlos Beltran agenda will continue. As always, because he is the man and deserves all the respect in the world. My partner coming in, Ibby, always does better numbers without me. I may have to quit. Nonsense. You're never quitting this show. You're staying. You're going to like it. Okay? I just get lucky sometimes. That's all. Nonsense. You're not going anywhere. This guy tells me every week he's quitting the show. One day he might mean it. Thank you, Jeff. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. My friend Killakel, Brian Kelber, checking into the chat. Big Yankee fan. Shout out to Brian. Thank you for being here, buddy. Carlos teaching the Yankee way, Ibby. Look, he's teaching good baseball. I'm not going to call it the Yankee way. I refuse to. He's teaching good baseball. He's a smart man. He's a Met now. He's a Metropolitan. That's the way I view it, and I'm thankful that he's on board, and I'm happy that things are going well and people are appreciating what he's bringing to the table for this team, especially the players. Let's see what else before we head into the break. Carlos, if you're asking what John Heyman tweeted, that would be the fact that or he didn't tweet it, but it was put out in a tweet. He said it, I think, on his shitty show. He said that the Mets are still, potentially in on JD Martinez to a lesser extent, whatever it may be, something along those lines. Like I said, I take it with a grain of salt because I don't believe it, because that just comes across as Scott Boras talking through John Heyman, as he always does. And we all know that Scott Boras has had a pretty rough winter, and he's trying his best to grab as much money as he can, since he's had to settle for some lesser contracts to this point, as he still has a lot of clients available on the free agent market. If you don't mind, I usually drink a lot on this show, guys. You always see me drinking out of my cup, but I haven't been able to yet since I'm the only one talking. So appreciate it. But we are going to go into the break. I'm going to do a great read for you when we come out of it. But as always, remember, Manscaped, use promo code TMDUP at checkout, 20% off plus free shipping. I'll do an awesome read for you in a couple of minutes. But we're going to head into the break. It's only 30 seconds. So all 105 of you that are here right now, love you, respect you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really do. Hit the like, sub the channel if you haven't already. And we're going to be back in 30 seconds. It's a break. It's an ad break for the audio side, for the podcast that'll be up usually about a half hour, 45 minutes after we're done going live here on all streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. This is a 30-second spot for an ad to run during the audio side. So I will be back in 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy the tunes. Enjoy the new music. We'll come back. We'll do some awesome reads, some plugs for our sponsors, and then we'll get back into the Mets talk, and we'll be talking about some Tylor Megill. So 30 seconds, and I will be right back. What is up, everyone? Don't mind me just taking down my cues for when we can edit things later on. Matt Ibanez here, a.k.a. Ibby. Till Mets do us part, checking in as always on a Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. It's 6:10 right now. You've been rocking with me for about 38 minutes so far. We got some time to play with. We'll have some fun the rest of the way. And, of course, we'll get more involved with the chat throughout. Carlos Ramos coming in with the comment. Carlos Beltran equals Hall of Fame. He is a Hall of Famer, brother. He's my Hall of Famer. He's right here. Always with me. My guy. Always and forever. He goes in next year. No doubt in my mind. Okay. Cue the dance crew. That's right, Charlie. Get that dance crew out here for all that are complaining about it. And my partner coming in saying, unfortunately for some, I plan on being back next week. We're going to break 108 next week. We've got 108 here right now. Saps. We're going to break it next week. 109. We're going to get there. But either way, fantastic for the show to have this many people here. Love it. It's good stuff as always. But it would not be a show if I didn't get a chance to do some reads, which I love doing because, like my partner has shown me, just being able to do with the paper and going into it, it's always a blast. But you know what I got to do. You know what I'm going to talk about, Patty. I know you're in the comments, and you're going to love this one because I can feel it. I just know it. We're talking about Manscaped. Okay? Top of the morning to you. This episode is brought to you by the St. Patrick's Day Shamrock Shavers over at Manscaped. This year, don't just chase rainbows. Make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders in below the kilt care. Say goodbye to your clover forest with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and let your confidence shine bright. Embrace the luck of the Irish and join the 10 million men worldwide who've trusted Manscaped Head on over to manscaped.com and use the promo code TMDUP at checkout to get 20% off plus free shipping. That's TMDUP at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. This St. Patrick's Day, make sure your little hairy leprechaun is luckier than ever with Manscaped. So shout out to Manscaped and respect to them for rocking with us for another month. Love it. It's always fun doing these reads. Always have a blast. And I followed it up with, of course, our second sponsor, which is Independent Safes. Independent Safes is protecting homes and businesses with secure residential and commercial safes, fireproof peace of mind in every corner. Visit independentsafes.com today for security that stands strong. And as Charlie in our chat joked about last week, when it comes to those safes, if you do need something on the smaller end, on the larger end, whatever it may be, if you need something and you want to stow away that lawnmower 5.0 that you bought, courtesy of Manscaped, by using promo code TMDUP, you can keep it in there. You want to get your lotions and your ball deodorant, you want to put that in there too, go ahead, be my guest. Either way, tell them Till Mets Do His Part sent you. Trying to help as many people as we can. Did this show just change ratings to an NC-17? Look, we skirt the line here and there. That line's in the sand. Me and John, depending on how we're feeling, we might go over it a couple of times. But it's always fun nonetheless. And I love doing these reads because I think Manscaped gives us hilarious things to read. So I appreciate it. And they gave us other ones as well, but I wanted to do that leprechaun one because obviously St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and I thought it was very fitting. But let's get into some Tylor Megill, or should I say Tylor Megill talk, because our guy has been lighting it up this spring. Okay. And I want to look at the chat real quick. We'll look at the poll. We got 33 votes, 34 votes so far. And if you haven't seen it, make sure you check out the top of the chat. It's listed there. Okay. It says trust or bust. Tylor Megill will prove to be reliable every fifth day as a starter for the 2024 season. 71% of you say trust. 29% of you say bust. 35 votes. Over 100 of you are in here right now. 114 of you are in here. So if you're on Twitter, thank you. Appreciate it. Why don't you head on over to YouTube, give a like, give a subscribe to the channel, and put your vote in. Let's find out let's see how many votes we can get in on this poll to see where we are as Mets fans in terms of trust or bust when it comes to Tylor Megill being dependable every fifth day for our Mets during the 2024 season. Now, I want to look over the checks. I see some Megill chatter starting already, and I want to see where we are before I jump in with some thoughts. We got Charlie coming in saying that yesterday's ESPN broadcast was awful, but when they did actually show Megill pitching, he seemed more comfortable than last year, more confident, more trust in his pitches, looked better to me. Charlie, you echo a lot of the things I'm going to hit on when it comes to Tylor Megill, so thank you for putting that out there. Chris Ferraro checking in. Hey, all. Been a long time, coming on late, so starting from the beginning, but wanted to say hi. Appreciate you, Chris. As always, my brother. Me and Chris always have good conversations outside of the show as well, so thank you for being here. I know it's been a while. He's been dealing with some stuff, so shout out to you for being here. Hopefully all is well on your end. And he comes in and says, like to do it. So he's a man of the people. He's a good man. Shay coming in saying that Megill looks more confident in his put-out pitch, which has been that way in the past. The American Spork has looked sharp to this point. He's needed a put-out pitch. I know that Wardy had hit on that in a tweet earlier. I don't know if he did a video on it yet, but I know he did put out a tweet talking about the need for that put-out pitch and how this pitch, the American Spork, can be that. It's looked sharp so far. The swing and miss rate, the chase rate has looked sharp. It's been limited to this point, but it's looked good from what we've seen. Jeff Cohen said that Megill needs to step up and be consistent. Jeff, you're not wrong, not at all. And I know that Amish Country Mets fan Nelson over at the Interstate Mets Report, as well as doing shows with CP, is not the biggest of Tylor Megill fans. He would probably echo the same sentiment as you. Needs to step up and be consistent. He's probably not falling for what has been going on this spring so far. And I knew Carlos was going to come in with this one saying that Megill is a bullpen setup guy. And I know Carlos put out some tweets talking about how, we've seen these great outings in 3-inning spurts. 3-inning spurts. It's like this guy has great stuff. 3 innings, 2 innings, 1 inning. Look, I get where your head's at. I understand. I'm not bad mouthing. I'm not against it whatsoever. Carlos Ortiz coming in saying that I chose to trust, but there is no other choice for now. Fair enough. Hey, it's like, what else is there? So I get you from that stance. Mets Vent coming in saying that Spork looks good and his slider curve played well with that, and as well as his fastball. Looks like he finally has put away stuff. I would agree with that from what I've seen to this point. Darren Rivera coming in. I feel that until Senga returns, Megill will hold it down. Confidence. I like it. If Senga doesn't, Robert Wilkins coming in. If Senga doesn't return until June, which starter does Megill become? I think we're going to see a lot of guys. I don't think it matters in terms of, what number they are within given rotation. Beyond that first turn, things get mixed up and matched or whatever it may be, depending on rest and extra days and what have you. Either way, we're going to see a healthy dose of 5, 6, 7 different pitchers throughout as we await the return of Senga. So again, you're going to see the likes of Megill, Severino, Quintana, Hauser, Lucchesi. You're going to see a bunch of guys tossed in to try and fill the gap because it's a big gap with Senga not there. But if Tylor can provide some consistency, it definitely helps along the way. Douglas Barnes coming in. What's up, brother? Having 5 pitches will help him out. Megill will do just fine as long as he keeps the walks down. Agree. Hard to disagree with that one. I did make a cool graphic, guys. I know that this one might not be as cool as Nate Lavender.
You just got struck out by Nate Lavender.
Couldn't go a show without using that one. It might not be as cool as that one, but I did enjoy making this one as well, just to signify what Tylor Megill has done to this point for this team in the spring, which has been clearly the number 1 pitcher for our New York. And as you can see, Tylor Megill, 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts, and a K per 9 of 14.6. The guy has been lights out. Like the stuff is there. Like it looks good. I understand that it's hard to get behind it because of what we've seen in the past. I know that people have been using the Shaq meme of saying like, sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game. And as well as the other one where it's like, I'm familiar with your game and I'm not falling for it. Both of those apply for Tylor Megill. Like when it's on, it's on. And we've seen it to this point. And I want to echo back to what Charlie said before, because it's exactly how I feel. The difference for me this year is I'm watching someone on that bump pitch with absolute confidence. Like he's going out there, and I understand that it's the spring and he's facing the B lineup, because I know there was a video put out there by I think Hector. I think Hector put it out over on Twitter, talking about how it was the B lineup, and if it was the A lineup, it's just the same. Are the results going to be the same? Look, I go based off of what a person's doing, because you got to go out there and you still have to execute, and that's what the spring's about. You go out and you execute your pitches. You try to work things in. He's trying to work with a new pitch. His stuff looks a lot sharper. And to Charlie's point, confidence goes a long way, especially with pitching. If you lack confidence on that mound, you're not going to get very far. Okay. And I think that's what leads to a lot of young pitchers having ups and downs. You have to have that confidence. And once you have that confidence, you obviously have the talent to be there. You then apply it. So I think the confidence is definitely there. The put out pitch can be that splitter, can be that American Spork, what have you. I'm not sitting here and saying that the guy is going to win a Cy Young. I like doing the whole tongue-in-cheek thing of Tylor because it's easy, because his name is Ty, and you can just put in Cy. But that's just me having fun with it. I'm not going to say that the guy is going to be a world beater. That's not what I'm saying. I think that he can go out there and provide for this team what needs to be done every 5th day, provide 5, 6 innings of good work, gives up 2, 3 runs. I think he can be that. Do I think he's going to hold up with a 14.6 K per nine. I can hope that he does. I think we can all wish that that happens. I'm not going to say that it is, though, because, yes, you are facing guys that eventually are going to be bagging groceries in a couple of weeks. So I understand that the talent that he's facing isn't what he's going to be facing on the everyday basis, or every fifth day basis. But I understand that the talent is there. I think he can apply it. I love what I've seen to this point. And I just want to also say that, people that rag on others that get excited or try to pull things from the spring and say, oh, you get excited over anything, this means nothing. It's like, yes, the spring stats in the end mean nothing, but I don't even need those stats to get me excited, because I'm watching a pitcher go out there and deliver, get outs, and pitch with confidence. That in itself goes a long way, and then that can be applied during the regular season. That's what I pull from it. Yes, I can laud those numbers all I want. 14.6, K per nine, 3 hits, all these strikeouts, looking dominant. Like, yeah, I can say that because he's facing nobodies. Like, I get that, but I think that he looks different. I do. So I'm with Charlie when he says it looks like he reset, different guy. I can echo back to what James Shiano from Mets Up said, saying that maybe it's the shoulder feeling sharper, in terms of healthier, I should say. So he's pitching sharper. Those things can all apply and can be true. And guess what? Maybe all of it is nothing, and the regular season comes and he reverts back to the Tylor Megill that we're used to seeing 99% of the time. Maybe that happens. Brett Baty dominated the spring last year. Regular season came, not so much. I get it. It can be up and down. But from what I've seen to this point, I think it can be applied. And if he maintains that confidence, I think it can go a long way. Take a look at the chat. I'm seeing some new names in here. It's making me very excited to talk to some of you. Carlos Ramos coming in. I like Megill, and I've always liked this stuff. But for me, he's perfectly suited to be a setup guy. I've thought this since when we first saw him. I think he can be one of the best setup guys, 100% LGM. Look, I know Carlos is always just trying to speak from a good place. I'm not trying to rag on you at all, Carlos. I just knew that once it was funny because when I made the thumbnail and then I posted it, I'd seen your tweets talking about Megill. So I was like, Carlos is going to love, he's going to love seeing this one that I just put up. But I did enjoy making that one. Carlos Ortiz coming in. Did anyone see the Foul Territory episode where they interviewed many Mets? I did. I'll hit on that in a little bit, probably towards the end. But I did see some things and I did enjoy it. I love Foul Territory because it's a true place where players can be themselves, because it's players talking to players. And that's why I think the show is so successful. And if you're curious on hearing thoughts from one of the hosts, Todd Frazier, been a guest on the show, just go back and check it out. Like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel. Plenty more where that came from. Jeff Cohen, Mom Megill is pushing for the Mets to trade for Trevor Megill. Hey, I'll take Trevor. Give me all the Megills. Let's have a party. CP coming in. Good to see you, brother. As always, love the respect that you're showing by being here. I love giving it to you as well when I watch your stuff live. Tylor is back. That's right, baby. Tylor is here, taking everybody down. Shay coming in saying, I know he's fighting for the rotation spot, but say he's in. Does he make the most sense for opening day since he's done it 2 times right? We had a conversation about this. I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had this conversation, and I know John was on board potentially with Tylor being the guy to take the ball, and maybe he jumped in the comments because I am trying to catch up here about that. But I know he was a proponent of that, maybe even Luis Severino. I had said that I would go for Jose Quintana, all reliable, just go out there, pitch, play some defense, and score some runs where you can. That's the way I thought that they would go. We'll see how things end up shaking up. But if they opted to go with him off of a hot spring, wouldn't shock me, because, again, he has done it before for them. So he can handle that spotlight. My man, the Mets Trucker Podcast host himself, Baseball Tone. Megill is my ace. Big drip, big sport. Hey, Tone, if you're still here, I'm pretty sure you said something along the lines of a new episode coming out the other day, and I don't think one came out. I don't know if it did, unless I missed it. But don't be lying to me, brother. Don't be lying to me. If you got an episode, put it out there. I know you're killing it when it comes to those spaces, but if you're gonna put an episode out there, put an episode out. I want to hear you. Let's see, where are we? Carlos coming in. I'd rather use a rusty Manscaped trimmer than listen to anything Eduardo Perez. All right, I think I hopped into a wrong comment on that one, but funny nonetheless. My partner coming in. Spring training means nothing until it doesn't. Sounds like nonsense, but it's true. Fair, very fair. Patty saying Alvarez is just adorable. I'm assuming you're going off of the foul territory piece, and he's a good guy. He's a kid. He's a kid living the dream. It's hard not to like him. Let's see. Where are we? Douglas Barnes coming in. If Megill can get 6 to 7 innings per start and an ERA in the low threes, he could be an anchor on the back end of the rotation. I think that's shooting pretty high, Douglas. Look, I would love it. But for me, if he can be a guy that can provide 6 innings and if he pitches to a 3.5 ERA, 3.6 ERA, stay solid, not kill the pen every time he pitches, I think that does go a long way. What you're saying could be the ceiling, which I'm all for. I'd be all about that. But I think, pump up those numbers a little bit in terms of the ERA, but being an anchor on the back end, I would love to see it. I really would. I think he can provide something. We'll see, though, if he can, again, apply this confidence from spring training over into the regular season on a consistent basis. Can he get that routine down where he's doing the same thing every single time? Can he tunnel properly? Can he get everything rolling so we can see this on a more consistent basis? I think confidence is the number one thing. Mr. Nobody checking in. I love that. I love that little icon as well. I always want to see it. Mr. Nobody. Megill can handle it. If we're talking about the opening day start, I would agree he could handle it. I still opted for Quintana, but if they go Megill, not going to complain whatsoever. Tone coming and saying he's got my man. Appreciate it. Keep killing on spaces too, my brother. Keep killing it. You, Keith, Rube, the whole crew over there. If you're not listening to those guys over when those spaces go live, make sure you're doing it. They're talking good baseball. I'm always listening. I know they want me to talk sometimes, but they're very, very intimidating people. One day I'll jump in and speak, but until then, I will be listening and supporting every way that I can. Seems like a conversation is going on in the chat about what happened on foul territory. But yeah, in terms of the foul territory spot, the things that I saw some clips here, and I didn't get a chance to watch the entire episode, but seeing Alvarez joke around and talk about he wants to break. They thought it was Piazza, but really it was Hudley with the 41 home runs. So he said he thought it was 40 home runs. Oh, I'm going to hit 41. Technically, it would be 42, which would be the all-time mark. But either way, was a funny exchange. I enjoyed the bits and pieces that I saw of the entire thing. Great chat with Lindor. Lindor not understanding why everyone underestimates this lineup because it can be good. And the other one was obviously Pete. Pete's the one that stands out the most because I made a note of it as well. Pete saying that, this is my home. This is where I want to be. So he says all the right things. He's taking the playbook exactly from Aaron Judge, who said all the right things, wanting to be here. And I fully believe that he does want to be here. I don't think he wants to leave. He even joked and he said, since I signed my letter of intent back in high school to go to the University of Florida, I've been wearing the same clothes ever since, because he's been wearing blue and orange ever since 2012, I think he said the year was. So it's like, he's a Met. He wants to be here. This place is a pressure cooker as it is. He's thrived. He hits 40 homers a year. Like, he's the guy you want repping your team. He is. We'll see what happens. I'm still very confident about the entire thing. But I have said to many people, I've said on the show before as well, it's very, very taxing. It's going to be a very exhausting season because this is going to be talked about nonstop. Nonstop, it's going to be talked about. And that's going to be the annoying part. It really is. But, if this team is winning, if this team is winning ball games and they're in the hunt and they're playing 500 ball and they're in the midst of the wild card and doing what they got to do to be a player at the deadline, to get some pieces to help them win some more games, to push themselves a little bit further, then those talking points and that nonsense will die down. But that's the one thing I fear about this season. I fear that this nonsense is going to carry so much weight that it's all we're going to hear about. But hopefully some winning and some good baseball will be able to drown out the nonsense. And as always, Keith Blacknick coming in, the media goon himself, Alonso to the Knicks, confirmed. I love you, Keith. I do. Always got a good line there. And you're right, Douglas. 3.5, 3.2 isn't that far off. It's true. It's not. I was just choosing to err more on the not as much not expecting too much. So I opted to go a little bit further back as opposed. But yes, I would agree. If he can give 6 to 7 innings, look, 6 to 7 innings on a consistent basis for the top end pitchers in this game is few and far. I mean, Blake Snell's out there right now trying to get $190, $200 million, and the guy doesn't go past 5 innings. He's trying to get the kind of money. But that's not just him. That's many people within the sport not going past 6, 7 innings at this point. But yeah, if 6 innings. This guy can give me a good 6 innings when he goes out there. I'm ecstatic for what we're trying to get out of this starting rotation because, again, the most important thing is the innings. This team lacked it severely last year. It crippled the bullpen, crippled everyone involved. And I just hope that this rotation can do its job in terms of finding said innings, providing them, so it allows those pen arms to do what they're good at and not overwork them to the point where it takes away their strengths. So that's the biggest thing, really, in my opinion, when it comes to that. Checking in with the chat. Charlie coming in, the best outcome. Alonso hits 61, passes Strawberry on the all-time list, and Steve Cohen needs a second mortgage to keep him forever. Hey, Steve said it himself. He basically called everyone that's complaining about it an idiot when he says, look, I'm not tone deaf. He knows what's going on. He says, I hope the guy goes out there, has an incredible year, and he forces me to pay him all the money in the world to keep him. He's not dumb. He's not an idiot. Everyone thinks that he's just this big dope because, he spends all this money. Oh, now you're not spending enough. Oh, you wasted this money. You're not doing what needs to be done as an owner. You're not George Steinbrenner. Like all this bitching and the guy knows what he's doing. He's got a baseball guy running the ops now. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's going to spend his money where he needs to. So yes, I'm with you. I'm the same way. Go out there, hit 60 home runs. Have the Judge year. Do that. Make all the money in the world. Okay? Please do it. I want you to. It means good things for my team in the end as well. And then we'll let negotiations go where they may. Still feel very confident about the entire thing. I really do. Patty checking in. Ibby, I'm avoiding the nonsense as much as possible. Everyone should know what the Alonso plan is by now. You would think, Patty. You would think that they would, but so many don't. And they just feed into the nonsense narratives because they want to bitch and moan and complain and all that nonsense. It doesn't help that other areas within Twitter, within radio, feed that nonsense. And of course, the journalists write about it nonstop because they have nothing else to talk about because they have no idea how to truly be a journalist, which is the sad part of the space in general. Rosie coming in. The issue is that the fans expect better than a 500 team. You should want that. You should. I get that. But I also think that people that push so hard for that need to realize that sometimes you need to break it down in order to build it up. And they tried, they failed, and now they're kind of, retooling on the run while still trying to be competitive because they do have veteran players within their prime. So I'm not of the mindset that some are, where it's like you're wasting the prime of these players. I don't believe that. I still think that you can do these things and build properly on the run with a player or players where you can continue to thrive. You have to draft better. You got to develop better. It's the biggest thing. And then you can get to where you want to get to. I often think back to the Braves. Braves weren't always this. Braves got rid of a lot of good players at one point, and they kept this guy by the name of Freddie Freeman, and they signed him to a 7-year deal, and they kept him. And everyone was like, man, Freddie Freeman's going to rot over there because the Braves stink. And they drafted well. They built up a monster. And then eventually they built up so many good things. They let him walk, and which they never should have, but they let him walk. And, the point I'm getting to is you can do all of these things. It just takes a little bit of time. Okay. So I understand wanting all the things in the world under the sun, especially when you have all the money in the world, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. Again, patience over panic. I'm going to push it all year. Patience over panic. Sorry for the dead air, guys. Just going over and looking at some of the chat. Keith coming in. Honestly, if Alonso can show maturity this season and can up his average a tad bit, I will be all happy if the Mets can resign him. I do have an Alonso jersey. That's a lie, Keith. I want a picture. I want a picture that you have one and you're supporting this man because you're always coming in here with the Alonso stirring of the big old pot. I know it's for all in good fun, but I want photo proof of that jersey. Robert Wilkins saying that some managers don't let starters go 7. I hope Mendoza isn't one of them. We'll see how things go. David Stern's analytically driven. We'll see if the baseball sense wins out in certain situations. Something that we're going to have to wait and see as opposed to speculating too much on it. My partner coming in. If all the starting pitchers, including the aces, were just serviceable, they probably would make the playoffs in 2023. Yeah. Yeah. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. Charlie saying that he's engaged with his team. Got to appreciate that, of course. You can't have a bunch of 1 to 3 inning starts and expect anything. Crush the bullpen. The bullpen was fried by May. Think about that. May. The bullpen was fried. They had nothing left. God, I hate going back to 2023, but it was such an excruciating and boring watch. It really was. Just a no energy team. I expect a lot different this year. I really do. Keith asking if I have seen Dumb Money. I have not. Keith, I have not seen Dumb Money yet. I have not seen that. Douglas saying, I will take John's concussed optimism. Hey, even with a mild concussion, my guy's still bringing the heat in the chat. You got to appreciate it. You got it. Also saying, I actually think the better year Alonso has, the more likely it is they keep him. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to read the article yet, but I know that Eno Saris did collaborate something with, I think it was with Will Salmon or Tim Britting over at The Athletic, talking about Alonso's chase rate and if there is a correlation between, platform years when you're trying to have that big season before you go into free agency. Is there a correlation to hitters improving stats such as their chase rate before going into that big free agent year and how they can better themselves and what they're doing and looking at others as well? It's an article I still have to read, but if you haven't read it yet, or if you have read it yet, I should say, let me know how it is. If you haven't, obviously check it out because I'm going to do the same thing. Rosie's saying that she is patient. Few and far, Rosie. Few and far. 100 and I am shocked right now that 141 people are in here right now, hanging out with me on a Wednesday at 6:42. Weather stinks here in Jersey, by the way. It's awful. It's freezing. It's raining. But I appreciate all of you hanging out with me, talking Mets, just nonsense, just hanging out, just having a good time as always. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Again, like I've said before, myself and John are trying to grow this channel as much as we can in correlation with Brella. All things happening. The more that we grow, the more sponsorships that we can get, like Manscaped and Independent Safes, and we're working on some other things as well. So the fact that 142 of you are here, whether it is on YouTube, whether it is on Twitter, wherever you are, I appreciate you so much. And again, sub the channel. Sub the channel, like the video. It spreads the word for Till Mets Do Us Part that much more, and it helps us grow that much more. So hopefully we can gain some more subs. But again, if all 142 of you already subscribed, thank you so much. But spread the word as well. We're trying to grow that number. So 142 of you are here rocking with me. Love every minute of it. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to hold you to it, Keith. Send you a pick later. I want to see that Alonso jersey. Carlos coming in. Guys, but are we setting Megill up for failure if we expect 6 to 7 innings from him? He doesn't have that stamina in him, in my opinion. This is why I've been saying bullpen so much. And you know what? You're not wrong. Like, we're shooting high by saying 6 to 7 innings. I think that is, again, best case scenario. If he goes out there and he's a 5-inning pitcher, but they're 5 solid innings, look, I'm not going to complain. It's the way of the game right now. I would love to get more if he can be a workhorse for us. But again, you're right. You're not wrong, Carlos. Like, we have to see, can he hold up? We've seen 3 innings of work each time out so far. What was it? Was it 2-3-3 or 3-2-3? He has 8 innings so far. Okay. But the more dominant outings have been 3 innings. Okay. Got out of 1 inning unscathed. Okay. Yeah, some of those pitches were a little bit up. Would a better talent have hit those pitches that were up? Possibly. Different outcome. Baseball is a game of inches, man. Difference between a strikeout and a home run and a pop-up, not much. Okay? So we'll see what happens. But yes, you're right. The stamina is going to be a big question early on. Can this guy last? And another thing, when it comes to the analytical approach of the game in general, going through the lineup a third time. Oftentimes, teams that are analytically driven choose to not let their pitchers, depending on the arm, not go through that third time, especially if the results the second time through, you barely got through it. That third time through is asking for trouble for some. So is that going to play a factor in how many innings he might end up going? We're asking all questions that are going to be answered at a much later date, but I think it's healthy that we're talking about it now because of what we've seen, in hopes, again, to bring back what I was saying before, talking about that confidence. I hope that it carries over so he can be a guy that can go out there and pitch dominantly the first 2 times through the lineup. Okay, minimum. So giving me 4 to 5 strong innings. Like, I will take that from him. Do I want more? Do I want him to be able to push to the 6 or 7? Yes, that's the ceiling, I think. If we fall somewhere in the middle, based off what we've gotten to this point from him overall in the years that he's been here, would be a huge win. Really would be. Charlie saying you're right about the energy. You need to see lots of that, even a little swagger, if they can back it up. Talking about what I was saying before about the team just lacking overall energy. It was just it was a snooze fest. It really was. So I'm so pumped up for this season just to see more life. That's what I want. I want more life in this team. Let's see. Andrew, the Rhino himself, coming in. I mean, I am just waiting for AEW. It was like, fine, I'll check in on Ibby. Hey, I appreciate it, brother. I'll be watching AEW tonight as well. The new stage looks awesome. Can't wait to watch Ospreay versus Fletcher. Going to be a great match. And, of course, we'll be waiting for that coin to drop as well. Won't spoil it for anybody, but those who know, know. If you know, you know. That coin is dropping tonight, so that'll be a good one. 8 o'clock on TBS. AEW. Love it. Game for War checking in. What's up, buddy? The Mets showed absolutely no maturity when they insultingly lowballed Pete 2 years ago. They made an offer 2 years ago? I don't remember that one. Off the top of my head, I don't remember that one. Because I feel like they've never offered anybody anything when it comes to contracts and extending people. Okay. But we'll see if those things change moving forward with the likes of Francisco Alvarez and players of that ilk. Did read a rumor today about the Red Sox. Brian Bello, one of their better pitchers, younger pitchers, they're talking about giving him an extension already. And as the Met fan that I am, I'm like, God damn, can we just like once? Can we please extend someone? That'd be kind of cool. One of our young players. But I think that can be Alvarez next season. I think that can happen for him because he does fit the bill in terms of that. Thank you, Carlos. Thanks. Someone thinks I'm cool. I appreciate it. Keith saying that the QBC loves John Nibby. So should you guys. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Keith. For as many jokes as Keith does throw out, he does throw in some nice things as well. Always appreciated. Yuki coming in from San Diego. San Diego? Is that where you are? San Diego? Yuki? I can't remember where you signed. Hey, Ibby, did you see that Eddie Rosario signed a minor league contract? Are the remaining free agents screwed? What did he get? $4 million? I think $4 million. I honestly, Yuki, I don't know what to think of this free agent class that still remains. It has big names. What are they going to settle for? Are they going to settle for the pillow contracts? Are they going to push for more? At this rate, you saw what happened with Matt Chapman going to San Francisco for the 3 years with the opt-outs. Good deal for San Francisco. You know, is Blake Snell going to do that? Is Jordan Montgomery going to do that? What does JD Martinez want? At this rate, there's no one that I don't want to say that no one needs him, which is kind of why if you want to say the Mets, it's an easy way to say it because they have a need, but they're not going to offer the money that he wants. So he, in essence, turned down the $15 million or whatever it was that was offered by San Francisco, saying, I want $20 million. Well, I don't know where you're getting that, man. I don't know where you're getting $20 million at this rate. I don't. Injuries happen. Yes, things can change, but I don't know. I don't know where you're getting that money from. So it's hard to not think that some of these guys are screwed in terms of, pushing for a market that's just not there, John letting me know that 108 viewers on Twitter, in addition to those numbers on YouTube. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You really are. We're crushing it. I love it. We're continuing to grow. If you haven't, again, 152 on the number here. Sub the channel. Like the video. It goes so far in helping us grow. I appreciate all of you hanging out with me here, like I said, on a Wednesday, a dreary Wednesday, as we all dream about that beautiful weather down in Florida, down in Port St. Lucie with our New York Mets. Yes, Keith, new set design for AEW. The tunnels are back. Spoiler, sorry. Tunnels are back. Can't wait to see it. On television, should look great. Love the new color scheme. Bringing back the rainbow. Should be really cool. Yes, Armand, a maker of rain. That is true. That coin's going to drop, and it's going to be a different vibe. That's for sure. Reed Foley. Charlie coming in. Reed Foley looked good yesterday, Darren. 1 inning, 3 Ks. Darren also saying that Sean Reed Foley would be ideally taking over the Trevor Williams role. I believe he's coming off of surgery. Yeah, we'll see. I think Reed Foley's a 1-inning guy because of the surgery. I know that Carson over at Mets Weekly is big on Sean Reed Foley, wants him to be a part of the bullpen. It's hard to disagree with him when we've seen the stuff that he's thrown so far. Again, spring training, what are you going to do? But looks sharp, looks good. Proving to be one of the more livelier arms within this bullpen. And again, if there's one thing that we are going to get the rest of spring, since we don't have the competition and that fire of the prospects, it's going to be the competition and the fire from these guys that are trying to make this 26-man out of the bullpen. Okay. There are spots available. People are fighting for it. People have their ideas, but I'm going to give it some more time. before I lock in with the names I think are going to make it, because there is still some time for these guys to show out. But the competition is definitely going to be stiff. That's for sure. John saying that there's no reason for guys with Rosario's numbers to only get minor league deals. It's crazy times. This is part of the reason why I said you're never going to see a period where signings are meant to happen. Never going to happen in a million years. Players would never allow it, because they get drowned out. They would get suffocated and worn down. It's like, oh, there's only 2 days left within this period. Take this cheap deal. It's like, that's never going to happen. Okay. It's crazy that this is happening now. You want to call it a baseball thing? You want to call it a Scott Boras thing? There's a lot of ways that we can have a conversation about it. But either way, like, it is wild that these guys are getting certain deals. You would have thought Rosario got a little bit more, but teams are becoming more and more stingy. More and more stingy. That's for sure. Hard plug for Dynamite. Just bought tickets for oh, nice. Go to Dynasty. That's awesome. Good for you, man. It's going to be a great show. Should be a lot of fun. Yuki asks, are you excited to watch the Netflix version of Hard Knocks featuring the 24 Red Sox? Not a Sox fan. And they're lacking, like, the overall players. Like, it's not the Sox like you're used to, because they're not spending as much. They do have some interesting youth coming up. Roman Anthony will be up soon. Interesting name to look out for. I mentioned Brian Bello before. They should sign Jordan Montgomery, but they're not. Tristan Cassis, like, they're a fun team. They have some good players. Rafael Devers, Marcello Mayer, going to be coming up soon too. But I'll definitely give it a watch too, because I love seeing behind the scenes baseball stuff like that. I'll definitely give it a look for sure. Jesus, Carlos, really? It's like 30 degrees and raining here right now. 80 degrees in Florida. Very, very jealous. Douglas coming in. DeGrom, Scherzer, Verlander all down. New Mets turn Scherzer and Verlander to future prospects. Patience. This team is going to be a consistent contender soon. I'm with you, brother. I am with you. I believe you. I am being patient. Many others can't. Many people refuse to. Many people want to doom and gloom it. And this isn't me trying to just wax poetic either. I understand that there are holes in places that need to be corrected. And I've said before on this show, and I will continue to say it, the big point for David Stearns, I'm not grading him off of this offseason. There's no reason to. I'm grading David Stearns on the deadline this year, depending on where this team is. And I'm grading him on his aggressiveness in terms of things that he thought might work out, not working out. That's where I want to see where his medal is. Can you do the things that Billy Epler refused to do? To refuse to give up on Daniel Vogelback, to refuse to give up on Darren Ruff quicker than he should have. Should have done it a lot quicker. Didn't. If Beatty and Vientos flop, are you ready to pull the trigger and do something else? Make a change, call someone up, rotate people around the diamond? Are you willing to make a move to better the team in the short term, or the short term that can lead to the long term? Like, these are the things I'm looking at to see what this guy can do overall as a leader. That's where I'm going to judge David Stearns at, not off of this offseason. But yes, patience is key. Jesus, swing man. You guys need to get Hector Gomez on to discuss the current state of the Mets. It's current state of MLB free agency. That guy stinks. Stinks. Awful. I'm pretty sure Keith over at Shea and Sons buried him on a space that he was on for his bogus Francisco Alvarez report. So shout out to Keith. Shout out to Shea and Sons, who eventually we're going to have to get on here and have a conversation, talk some ball with. But yeah, he buried him. Like Hector Gomez will not be on this show. I can guarantee you that one. Love mixing in this wrestling talk as well. Armand coming to Ibby. There's a rumor. It is going to be at Arthur Ashe. Forbidden Door is going to be at Arthur Ashe. And I have yet to get to Arthur Ashe, Armand. I really want to go. Obviously, money is a little bit tight for me at the moment. But I've been dying to get to Arthur Ashe. I've always been busy on the shows that have been there. I wanted to go to that initial Grand Slam. I wanted to see Kenny versus Brian. And didn't get a chance to, which sucks. But if I can save some cash, you might see me there. I would love to go to that show. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And just to be in that stadium in general. I've never been in it. So I think that'd be kind of cool. Guys just talking in the chat about the organization and things changing for the better. Douglas saying that's what I'm saying, John. This new Mets organization has taken what would have been a setback and turning into future opportunities for success. Yes. Why can't everyone see that, Douglas? Why can't everyone think like you, Douglas? Because that will require a brain. And the people that complain about this team don't have a brain, which is why it's good to have the partner that I have who burns up his phone and burns up his fingers. I wouldn't be shocked if he slammed his phone against his head after a tweet. And that's what caused the mild concussion, because he was so angry over someone causing some stupid tweet about the Mets. Wouldn't shock me. Not what happened. At least that's not what he told me. But maybe it was. But yeah. Arthur Ashe is going to be a sweatbox in June. Yeah, it will be. But I would still love to go. Lisa, good to see you, Lisa G, the queen of Mets Twitter. Great show tonight, Ibby. Feel better, John. LGM. Always appreciate you, Lisa. I've said it before. I say it again. It was great meeting you at the QBC. It was great meeting a lot of you at the QBC. Had so much fun with that. But I did get to take that famous Lisa G selfie, which was a lot of fun. So I appreciate the kind words and always appreciate that you are listening. So thank you so much. The first test for David, or as Andrew likes to call him, Dumpster Dave, is putting Nate Lavender on the roster over Pooh Smith. Did somebody say, "You just got struck out by Nate Lavender"? I will take every opportunity I can get to put that out there every time. But I'm closing in on an hour and 30. 156 of you are rocking with me. This is wild. It really is. Once again, I'm going to start, wrapping things up. But if you haven't, 156 of you are here. If you have not subbed to the channel, okay, you want to have some more fun, the ridiculousness of a Nate Lavender video. I have other stuff that I like to have some fun with as well. John's always cracking jokes or flipping out on people. We have a lot of fun on this show. We really do. We have the full-on support of Brella Sports Media, the Brella Sports Network, John Minconi, the whole crew, with us, helping us, finding ways for us to grow even more. A lot is on the horizon. A lot of good is on the horizon for the show. I have so many visions. John does as well for what this can be. We're very excited. And, I think that no matter what, it's going to be a lot of fun here this season with our Mets. And, the conversation between us and you and the guests that we're going to have on still, it's going to be a lot of fun. So if it's your first time here, thank you so much for being here. I've said it multiple times throughout the show. I truly mean it. The fact that I'm sitting here with 157 people when I'm used to sitting here when me and John were doing this and we had 5 people, okay, means the world. It really does. It shows growth, and we're reaching more and more people within this space. It's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, everybody. Once again, shout out to the chat. Carlos asking this one. Merch coming soon. Look, man, I got plenty of ideas. It's something that me and John can talk about. I know you did leave a comment, and I appreciate the comment. Look, you can ask John. Like, I'm in Canva like all the time, making things, making ideas, logos, nonsense. I love doing that stuff. So if we can create something, yeah, I mean, I'm all about it. We can figure something out. It all depends on if there is if there's a want, if we can figure out something that is like a universal thing that people would like. Look, maybe my building character mug and shirts, happened too soon. They would have been better, a little bit later, as the crowd and people that started supporting us were more plentiful, as opposed to nobody really seeing it. But it was a cool shirt, and it's a cool mug too. Maybe it'll come back. There's plenty of other ideas as well, but if people want things, I'm always willing to try things. But we'll see. It depends on a lot of variables, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not. Looking at some things in the chat, people saying goodbye to each other. Appreciate it. Yes, Carlos, there should be 156 likes if there's 156 people in here. I would love that. The more likes, the better. The more views, the better. The more subs, the better. But yes, thank you so much, everybody. Andrew saying that the Nate Lavender video hits harder than Ospreay and Takeshita. Look, that's hard to. Oh my God, that match, man. That match was incredible. Really was. I appreciate that you think that video hits harder, but I don't know. That brainbuster on the ropes, man, hits pretty hard. Thank you so much, Robert. Awesome work, Ibby, for the talk, and for John in the chat. Appreciate my partner being in the chat and supporting. As always, we're a team, whether he's here or not. So I've done the same thing for him when he's gone solo. I've jumped in the chat when I could. It's not the same doing the show solo. I have a good time with it. It's not as easy navigating the chat, but I appreciate all of you. I really do. Again, just wild. 152 people here right now hanging out with me, going for an hour and a half. Great conversation today. Loved all of it. Got some things off my chest that needed to get off. The dance crew, the prospects going down, the news across baseball with Mets-related pitchers, the Verlanders, the Giolitos, the Zach Wheelers, talking about Tylor Megill, talking about what could come of this season, talking about patience. All great things. Thank you so much, everyone, for checking in with me on a Wednesday, as always. Next week, we will be back with another episode of Till Mets Do Us Part. That'll be episode 133. If you're waiting for the audio version of the show as well, episode 132 will be out sometime over the next hour and a half. And yeah, thank you so much to Manscaped. Thank you so much to IndependenceSafes.com for the support. Remember, TMDUP at checkout, Manscaped.com. Anything you want. 20% off and free shipping. Tell them Till Mets Do Us Part sent you. I'm Ibby. I love all of you. Thank you so much for the time. It's been an episode. And as always, let's go Mets. I'll see you guys next week.